What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown for UFC Vegas 71. We have Curtis Blaydes going against Sergei Pavlovich.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back breaking down another main event this week. We are back at the Apex. It feels like it's been a while since we've been at the Apex, which has been nice. But yeah, we're back for UFC Vegas 71. And honestly, we have a fascinating fight here. Curtis Blaydes, Sergei Pavlovich. It should be a very, very fun one here. Can't wait to break it down and talk about it. Before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video. It does help a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post notifications. I'll be posting my full card breakdown and prediction video on Monday for UFC Vegas 71. We have 13 fights to talk about. Can't wait to break down that. But we're going to talk about this main event here, which I'm really excited about this main event. It's a very fun main event. It's a main event that I feel is very important for the heavyweight division. We have somebody in Curtis Blaydes who has been at the, fighting the top guys in the division for a while. He's 17-3, and he's only losing to literally Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. And then we have Sergei Pavlovich, who's 17-1. His only loss came in his debut against Alistair Overeem, and since then he's just looked like an absolute killer. We're going to start with Curtis Blaydes here. And by the way, both these guys are really young. Curtis Blaydes, 32 years old, 6'4", with an 80-inch reach, 17-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Sergei Pavlovich, 30 years old, 6'3", with an 84-inch reach, 17-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds. We see that Curtis Blaydes opened up minus 200, currently minus 155, and then Sergei Pavlovich opened up plus 170, and he's currently plus 135. I think this fight is very easy to break down, but I think this is a fight that is going to be pretty challenging to predict because I feel like this fight goes one of two ways, and is Curtis Blaydes going to be able to take down Sergei Pavlovich before he gets his head taken off? I mean, that's the big question here. We did see Sergei Pavlovich off his back only once, and it looked bad. Overeem was able to take him down, and once he took him down, Pavlovich had nothing. And that fight was a while ago. That fight was, when was that? Back in 2018. So yeah, it was a while ago. So yeah, he had to have made improvements. He was like 25, 26 right at the time. So you got to imagine he made improvements. But still, I mean, that was the only time we saw somebody get on top of Sergei Pavlovich, and he looked completely atrocious off his back. So, and that's why this fight's so fascinating, because Curtis Blaydes, in theory, should be able to take down Pavlovich. And if he does get on top of Pavlovich, the fight could be over shortly after if Pavlovich has not shored up that ground game. We don't know if he has or not. So that's a very interesting aspect of that fight. But Curtis Blaydes has kind of fell in love with his hands a little bit as of late. Remember in the Derek Lewis fight, I had a bet on Curtis Blaydes. I was very confident in Curtis Blaydes for obvious reasons. And then Curtis Blaydes didn't even attempt a takedown till the second round. And he actually got it stuffed by Derek Lewis, and then ended up going in for a takedown, getting knocked out with that uppercut. Brutal knockout, but yeah, it took him a little bit to wrestle. In the Chris Daukaus fight, I don't even think he attempted a takedown. So I think he's falling in love with his hands lately, and he cannot do that here. I mean, he does not want to strike with Sergei Pavlovich. I went back and watched some old footage of Pavlovich. He did go the full 5 rounds before, and I would not recommend going back to watching that full 5-round fight of Pavlovich because nothing happened at all. Besides the last 10 seconds, he got a takedown. But they really just stood with each other for 25 minutes. But he has went 5 rounds. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think if Pavlovich wins, it's going to be in the first round. What I like about Pavlovich, throughout his career, he's just more aggressive. You go and watch Pavlovich from when he was younger, 24, 25 years old, he's kind of taking his time, not doing much. But, in the UFC, and especially lately, he's pressuring guys, and he's trying to take their heads off. Against Tai Tuivasa, as soon as the fight started, he got in his face and just tried to get him out of there, and he did. He landed a big shot, hurt Tuivasa bad, and then just didn't let him off the hook. Same thing with Derek Lewis. Hurt him, didn't let him off the hook. Knocked out Shamil, knocked out Maurice Green, knocked out Marcelo Gome. Sergei Pavlovich is an absolute killer. He really is. So I don't think Curtis Blaydes is going to want to mess around on the feet with Sergei Pavlovich. I know Blaydes is a good striker. He actually is. I know everybody thinks of Blaydes as a wrestler, and he's a phenomenal wrestler, one of the best, if not the best wrestler in the division. It's just his striking is really good. You just don't want to do that here against Sergei Pavlovich. That is a recipe for disaster because it's only going to take one. It is absolutely only going to take one big shot from Sergei Pavlovich. So, yeah, the big question, does Curtis Blaydes get this fight down to the mat? And I think he's going to have to do it within the first minute or so. Because I honestly think it's only going to take one big shot from Pavlovich. Like, if Pavlovich blitzes Curtis Blaydes in the first 60 seconds, like he blitzed Derek Lewis, like he blitzed Tai Tuivasa, I'm not sure Curtis Blaydes' chin is going to hold up. So Blaydes needs to come in here with the game plan of getting this fight down to the mat early and often. I know he can. I absolutely know he can. It's just, will he do that? Or will he kind of take his time? Will he try to make this a feeling out process in the first round? If he does that, I think he gets knocked out. So, like I said, it's a very binary fight. Does Curtis Blaydes get on top and pound this guy out? Or does Sergei Pavlovich knock out Curtis Blaydes within the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3-4 minutes? And I don't know. I feel like it could go really either way. Man, Pavlovich is a scary, scary dude. He's only 30 years old, so that means he's going to keep improving. You know, in the heavyweight division, you can go and fight well into your 40s. Some of these guys, like Andrei Arlovsky's still fighting. We saw Alexei Oleinik fight till he's like 44, right? In these higher weight classes, you can. These guys are only 30 and 32. So I'm going to pick Pavlovich here. I see why Blaydes is the favorite, though. It's just because Blaydes has the clear path to victory. It's clear as day. Take this fight down to the mat. You'll win this fight pretty easily. It's just, on the flip side, Pavlovich has a pretty clear path to victory as well, and that path to victory is knocking out Curtis Blaydes in the first, couple minutes of the fight. So I would love to see Pavlovich's takedown defense tested. I would love to see his ground game tested. And if we do, I feel like Blaydes is going to win this fight, but if Blaydes does not go to that wrestling, I think it has to be really early, I think he's getting knocked out here. So I'm going to take Sergei Pavlovich as an underdog here. And I'm a big Curtis Blaydes fan. You don't see a guy in the heavyweight division that can go out there and wrestle as good as he can and do it for the full 25 minutes, no problem. Curtis Blaydes has a very unique skill set for a heavyweight, and his striking is coming along. He has that cardio, has that wrestling. I really like Curtis Blaydes. The only thing that's, been wrong with Curtis Blaydes in his career has potentially been the chin. He got knocked out by Derek Lewis. There was that doctor stoppage, I think at the end of the second round against Francis Ngannou, and then there was that, the Francis Ngannou knockout, which, I don't know, it looked kind of like an early stoppage, but he still got hurt bad by Francis Ngannou, and Sergei Pavlovich hits very, 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 very hard. So I'm going to take Pavlovich for the win here. We don't have any betting odds on the props or nothing like that yet, but I'll be talking about it throughout the week. Some props you might want to consider is Pavlovich round one, just because every single Sergei Pavlovich fight has ended in the first round in the UFC since 2018. Overeem round one, Golem round one, Green round one, Abdurakhimov round one, Lewis round one, Tuivasa round one. I think if Pavlovich wins this fight, I think it's going to be in round one. I think if this fight gets out of round one, that heavily favors Curtis Blaydes, because that probably means he's wrestling and he's having success with the wrestling. So I think if Pavlovich does win, it's in round one. I'll be taking a look at Pavlovich by first round knockout. I'll also be taking a look at the under 1.5 rounds. I think this fight does end early one way or another, whether it's Pavlovich getting that first round knockout or whether that's Blaydes getting on top and exposing the ground game of Sergei Pavlovich as well. But yeah, this is an incredible fight. I'm actually really looking forward to this fight quite a bit. Two guys at heavyweight that I'm really big fans of. Sergei Pavlovich just looked like an absolute killer as of late, and I've always thought that Curtis Blaydes is one of the most underrated guys in the heavyweight division as well. It's just when Curtis Blaydes, takes on somebody with some power, it doesn't always work out. It does not always work out, and Pavlovich has some of the best power in the division for sure. Absolutely, this guy is just an animal. 84-inch reach, just tons and tons of power, going out there and just running through these other heavyweights, and maybe he runs with Blaydes here. That's kind of what I'm picking. So taking Pavlovich for the win. I'll take Pavlovich by first round knockout. Under 1.5, probably solid as well. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know who you guys have down in the comments. Blaydes makes sense. I mean, Blaydes, if he wrestles, he can absolutely win this fight, but I have a feeling he's going to wait a little bit too long. Pavlovich is going to check him or catch him early on. But yeah, should be a good card. Apex card, back to the Apex, which is fine. We haven't been there in a while. Should be a good card overall. I'll be breaking it down Monday sometime in the afternoon, early evening there. So be on the lookout for that. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 71, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you.